important to me in business is integrity. Doing things the right way the first time. And if you don't do them the right way the first time, course correct immediately. Building an an intentional network, people that you really want to stay connected to, because you respect them or value them in some way, and they bring value to you in some way as well, which is extraordinarily important. I do think when you can make millions of dollars for an organization, that you can certainly make that money for yourself. What you can lose, however, when you step outside of corporate America is the layers, right? And the structure and the resources, the infinite, right? Resources inside of corporate America. And so that gets scary or challenging or complex, whatever you want to call it. I think having coached and having had a team, having built systems from nothing inside of corporate America, and having done it for myself in my other effort, that I knew that I could do it again.
Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey, the podcast where we share valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to podcasts and be part of this journey. Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey. Today we have with us Serene B. Hollingsworth. She is the founder and perfumer of SANCTUAIRE de Fleurs, a luxury fragrance maison rooted in cultural authorship, memory, and design. Her work explores scent as an expression of identity and lived experience. Welcome, and how are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, this is another conversation that we're having. The first time I got to speak with you was when I reached out after your article in the Wall Street Journal, and you were gracious enough to speak with me. We had a conversation. I feel like we've
It
been
was a
doing a lot
great
since.
conversation.
Yes, yes. So tell us a little bit about that kind of visibility.
Ooh, visibility is the scary thing, especially if you don't understand what what it means really. And it is just that, right? It's visibility. It doesn't mean increased sales. I think everyone would like it to mean I'm going to get visibility and that means I'm going to get increased sales. It's not that. And I think for me, when I realized that visibility is all about opportunity to meet, connect, to share, and explore with other people of like minds. That's it. And then whatever happens after that is really quite organic, right? Maybe they get to your site, maybe they don't. Maybe you develop a wonderful friendship, maybe you do business together. Possibilities are endless, but it's visibility, eyes on you in this world for a very short period of time.
When you said short period of time, yeah, our attention span.
Our attention span is very short, very short.
Yes, yes. I love that part of what came out of that was I I got to see you, learn about your business, and today we're here on the podcast. So thank you so much for being visible
Thank
and
you.
for accepting this connection.
Indeed. I'm
All
most
right.
gracious.
Thank you. So I would like to learn a little bit more about you. One of the questions we like to ask on here is this one. If you can give us two words, one that describes you now and one you would have used to describe yourself as a child.
As a child, absolutely fearful of everything, anything. Today, I would say I am powerful.
Fearful, powerful. Wow. Okay, what changed there?
As a kid, I was just probably like a lot of black girls, right? I just didn't think I didn't have the things. I was lanky and skinny and my hair was short. Oh, and the one thing that I think was huge was that I couldn't read well. And I think that piece and learning, recognizing that it was a challenge and then learning, right, from learning how to read, one, probably was a recipe for being fearful for probably most of my childhood. And then things shifted a little bit for me about fourth grade, which is a very long time ago. A very long time ago. When I learned the power of reading, learned how to read, became an avid reader and now writer. And then we move into present. And at my age, I realized I have absolutely nothing to be afraid of. And nothing. Zero. I can do anything that I put my mind to, really, quite honestly. And that now is, of course, building the maison. I I actually navigated corporate America in pretty much the same way, really fearful for a long time. And and part of that is just the systemic cultural dynamic of corporate America. But at some point I said enough, and it probably came before my layoff, quite honestly. And then power just kind of broke through.
Okay. There are two things you mentioned that I'd like to just touch on a little bit. You mentioned your age. So I would like if you could just tell us a little bit more about that and you when you started your business. And two, you said layoff. So that takes us into what you were doing before and how you transitioned from that to now owning your own business. So let's start with the age part, if you don't mind covering that.
Yes, women, black women, women, we live in this space where it's just like we just are afraid to be who we are in the moment in time, right? I'm 61 today. It's not my birthday, but I'm 61. I founded Sanctuaire de Fleurs at 59. I'd been an entrepreneur before, but this was very different for me. Different time of my life, different season, in my life. My children were adults, are adults now before they were young. And so again, the fear piece, came into play, but my children were younger. Um, I think the older you get, the better you get, or the better you can get. I was working in corporate America. I was laid off in September 2025, was several months ago. And when I founded the company, it was kind of my exit strategy. I did not or could not have imagined that I would have been laid off. I could imagine me quitting because I didn't like it. The job had just become so toxic. And when I say things like surviving corporate America, it is exactly what I was doing. And I think it's a terrible, terrible place to be in this need space of a paycheck, right? That we all need, and surviving in a space that's making you sick physically, emotionally, all of those things. And so here I am today, 61, founder of Sanctuaire de Fleurs, started at 59. And the only thing I think about, Clarita, is why didn't I do this sooner? That's like, if there's any takeaway from that, is why didn't I do this sooner?
Hmm. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Okay. And since you've been in business, What's one of the best moments you would say that you've had so far?
I'm going to say the Wall Street Journal piece because the Wall Street Journal piece has put me in spaces like this one with you, right? And many other women who are doing the exact same thing in the exact same space and time where we are building businesses, we are becoming founders by force or because it's the time to do it. It's the right time to do it. And so I'd say that article.
Okay. And can you think of an opposite experience? One not so good moment that you've had in business so far?
I've shipped the wrong things, or there was a particular package that I shipped to a gentleman that was actually a custom fragrance for someone else. Now, I will say this, he had no idea. He'd never smelled the fragrance before, so he had no idea. and and I had to really kind of play with, do I tell him? Do I not tell him? Do I just ship him something and, get the other thing to the other person, all that. So what I landed on was actually um, sending him a second package without him knowing it was coming. And when I knew he had received it, then I made him aware and I let him keep them both. And then I shipped the correct package to the right person. Seems like a small thing, but when you're a founder, when someone invests in you in that way, you want it to be right. Let it stay there and let him, because what I sent him was beautiful, I could have let it stay there, but I couldn't do it. So there was a cost factor involved for me and double shipping, double product, that sort of thing.
I'm so, how do I say that? I feel honored that you shared that with us because I know that's something that could be something not so easy to share, but you went ahead and you shared it. Somebody could be learning from that. And what I learned is the integrity there and the way you were able to incorporate customer service, the trust factor that's put in you, and you're able to show all of that through that interaction. So kudos to you there.
Oh, thank you. That's so important to me in business is integrity. Doing things the right way the first time. And if you don't do them the right way the first time, course correct
Yes.
immediately,
Thank you. Yes, yes.
as soon as possible.
Oh, yes, yes. And I'm sure he was very pleased.
He was pleased and didn't even know he had a problem, which was
Yeah.
which was great.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So we talked about you leaving corporate America, and you also mentioned that you've been an entrepreneur before. This is not your first time. So can you take us back to your first stint, I would say, or experience as an entrepreneur? And what was it that made you make that decision then? And even what makes you continue to make that decision now?
Let me just say, I loved the work that I did as an entrepreneur prior to Sanctuaire de Fleur. I was the founder of a publication called Bahia Woman Magazine. And so I was a publisher. It was really before internet publishing took off. I was a pioneer, I'll say that because my brother said it. I was ahead of my time. And so I was publishing online. I was working with young people in the Chicago school system. They were writing. I was working with writers from across the country and around the globe. It was a really, really wonderful experience driven by advertising, right? Advertising sales, which were a little different back then, probably in a good way because the competition wasn't as fierce as it is today. I don't know if I would have made the transition well. Don't know. There were all kinds of eyes on me back then, like Essence publication. People were peeking in. I was reading the data, so I was like, "Oh, I'm doing something. I'm on. I'm on to something." And my children are really small, and I just said I need to go back into the workplace. And I did. I went back into the workplace and it was extraordinarily painful. Extraordinarily painful. I will tell you this. I have always operated on the premise that I was never built for corporate America. I never wanted to crack their glass ceiling. I never needed to go up the escalator, the elevator, whatever it took. I never wanted to be that. And so I wasn't that. I did good work. I built good systems and I made money for people in corporate America. I think it was a great coach to, my teams, but I knew ultimately that I couldn't stay because I just was never built for it. Never designed for it.
And what are those things you think that you bring to your current experience from when you used to have your publication business, and also even from working in corporate America? Because I heard you say you coach, you were a very good coach, you did very good work. So with all of that in this moment, how do you see all of that coming together?
Well, I do think when you can make millions of dollars for an organization, that you can certainly make that money for yourself. What you can lose, however, when you step outside of corporate America is the layers, right? And the structure and the resources, the infinite, right? Resources inside of corporate America. And so that gets scary or challenging or complex, whatever you want to call it. I think having coached and having had a team, having built systems from nothing inside of corporate America, and having done it for myself in my other effort, that I knew that I could do it again. And I was very intentional this time because this was my exit strategy. I thought, right? So I thought I was doing all of the things right and I would scale over time. But one of the things corporate America did teach me was the ability to pivot and to be agile. Also working in tech space, agile technology and being able to pick it up and do it and move, which is AI was nothing for me. That's a totally different subject. But nonetheless, those types of things, pivoting, being agile, working with people from a diverse perspective, generationally diverse, racially diverse, ethnically diverse, all of that. So those things taught me how to build the team that I ultimately want to have. Right now, I'm a team of one, heavily supported by a husband and AI is my truth right now.
Mm. But I'm sure as you're building, you're preparing for that team that is to come because you have all that experience teaching you that that
Yes,
will
I know. I
happen.
know what I want my first salesperson to look like. Matter of fact, she's probably working on the team I built with the other organization. As soon as I can pay her enough, I'm bringing her over.
Oh, I love that because there are a few accountants out there that I've already handpicked. They just, I'm just waiting to bring them in. So I totally get that. And can you just tell me a little bit about your upbringing that has led you to where you are right now?
Oh yeah. So this I love. I love my family. We are an imperfect bunch, but we are a loving bunch. And my fragrance love comes from them. It comes from my mom. It comes from my dad. It comes from the women that were in my family. Even talking about this gets me really, really emotional. Seriously. And as a kid, smelling fragrances. I'm serious. I'm gonna tell you because I have to show you this for you to believe it. So on my desk, this is the fragrance that my dad. It's not the exact one, but it's the fragrance that my dad bought me when I was 16. Christian Dior Dior Essence. This is a fragrance I asked for him to purchase for me, which was expensive then, but he bought it. And my husband bought this bottle for me. When he heard that story, he bought it for me as a Christmas gift. But I was always the kid. I was in magazines, which made sense for me to have a magazine. When I think back on it, it made sense for me. I would save money, little money I would get allowance to go buy publication, big magazines, Women's Wear Daily, all the fashion magazines, Essence, Ebony, Jet. I was going buying them. And when the little strips would fall out of fragrance, I would smell them. And that's how the Deorescence thing came. And I wanted it. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have this, Dad. Will you get it for me? And he was like, that's what you want? Because it was like between a boombox and a perfume, right? It was like boombox and perfume. So, and I was like, but I really want this Deorescence, Dad. And he took me out to dinner for my 16th birthday, and there it was. And I think somebody got me a boombox, so I had the best of both worlds. I don't know. My mom was a fragrance lover, and so I was on her dresser, just taking a spray or spritz before I would go to school, all of that, and I was kind of the weird girl. I was, when I learned to read, I couldn't put a book down in the library, curled up, reading a book, in my room, reading a book, library books, never returned, still at my mom's house right now in the basement. Forgive me. Um, so that was me growing up, and, the fact that I was fearful, I treaded carefully, and most of the things I did were with family. I have siblings. I have four brothers, and there are two sisters. So we are a pretty big bunch.
Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation.
Mm, wow, thank you. And I'm listening to you speak, and I hear that you loved using perfumes, which I'm sure you still do, but now you're making your own, developing your own scents. So now it would be a good time to tell us a little bit more about the business itself and how you made that transition.
Let me tell you, the transition to fragrance and fragrance composition is probably the most challenging work ever. And if you ever want to go into business, anyone listening right now, this is not the get rich quick business. At least not doing it the way that I'm doing it, where I'm composing fragrances and sourcing my own materials and that sort of thing. I've always been resourceful. So I've always known how to find what I am looking for. I knew I wanted to create and compose my own fragrances. I didn't want someone to build it for me. It had to come from me because I developed from story, history, through a Black lens, through a Black woman's lens, right? So the stories are an important part of building for me. It's not marketing, it's not brand, it's not trend. It is, what have I experienced in my life, in this moment, in this space, or what do I know that needs to be told in this bottle? And that can take a long time. And it can take an expensive material to create it if I've got something in my mind that it has to be. I've met people on my fragrance journey who have had their fragrances customized, and they are stunning. I have had a lot of failure. I don't know that artists actually fail. I don't really like that word. I've had a lot of opportunities that didn't meet the moment. And so there are many things on my shelf that are like macerating, that maybe one day I'll come back to and say it's the fragrance for now, right? So that's it. Had to be that I came into this space. I was turned away from it at one point in my life, and that's when I entered college. when they told me that I didn't have enough chemistry, that I just didn't have enough smarts, that I just didn't have it. And I knew that I would one day come back to it. And although they redirected me and here I am, it was a pause. It wasn't forever. And so here I am, scientist, artist, doing all of the things that someone once said you'll never be able to do, or you don't have it. You just don't have that.
And somebody listening now will probably want to follow in your footsteps. And they've probably been told that too. Or maybe they just don't have the belief in themselves because I don't think there are many persons of color who do this. I'm not sure. So I can see, for instance, a little girl out there. I'm thinking of my little 6-year-old. Representation is so important. So somebody who's actually looking to do the same thing that you're doing, can you maybe walk through what that process is like, even like getting started, or even like developing a fragrance? I hope I'm using the right term. Is it developing or composing?
Developing, composing, all of that works.
I'm trying to figure out what that's like.
Things have changed. Things have changed. There are programs at various universities. The educational system has changed somewhat too. I think when you are younger or older, whenever you are, and you find a thing that you are good at. For me, it was the gift of scent. I didn't think it was a gift, it was just a thing at the time that I had. And then it expanded. I didn't have a name for it. I couldn't say anything about it. I couldn't tell anyone about it. People knew that I loved it. They knew that I bought it, right? When I was in the classroom, there was no one discussing those things. It was chemistry was offered to me, but I didn't take it because I didn't understand. I didn't connect the dots. So where I'm going with this is the exploration and being curious and asking people, hey, I smell things and I think they smell really, really good. And I'm wondering, you think I can make a fragrance? I like to use something. Mom, dad, grandmother, auntie, cousin, whoever, can you take me to the store? I want to get some rose water. And hey, watch me in the kitchen because I want to add some things to it. And then allow them to do that. Right? And to create that thing. That would be their first fragrance. I got some rose water. I added some vanilla to it. Oh my gosh, it smells great. It's in your kitchen, right? It is possible. I think the curiosity, and then if you're a parent or a mentor or a coach or an elder on the other side of that, and this is what I didn't do, I wish I had, is to be able to allow your children to explore it. It might sound crazy. It might sound silly. It might reasonably waste some things, but it gives them an opportunity to explore and create. And then if you're older, as you age, then I think the opportunity still exists. And it's all about saying, this is something I want to try and pursue. What is the worst that could happen? What is really the worst that could happen if I failed being a perfumer, if there's such a thing, or I failed being a writer, or whatever, fill in the blank. I think curiosity is something that we really destroy in young people. We do it really early because we've learned that we have to do things a particular way. It has to happen in a way, but everyone's brain does not process in that way. And we need to give opportunity. We need to allow opportunity to happen and exploration to happen and the wonder of curiosity to exist even as we age. It doesn't go away. It's just been tucked somewhere. And people said, don't do it. You can't do it. It's not right. It's not the right time. You're too young. You're too old. Oh, you don't do it. You got kids. Oh, you got married. Oh, you moved. They don't do that here. Those sorts of things happen and they quench the spirit. And I think that's why we don't have more entrepreneurs now.
I love that curiosity. as a young person, and especially as we age. Yes, and I felt it when you said, all the things that happen in life that could actually kill that. And then that goes back to also when you said corporate America, what can happen there
If you
could
want your
really.
dreams crushed, you just step right in.
So if we have time, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about that as well. But as we stay on your business, tell us a little bit about how you came up with the name. And even I was looking at your website and I saw your fragrance collection with names like I Love My Locks. I want to hear a little bit more about that.
The name came from when I built out my space to create. It was in my garage where we didn't even have cars. So I was like, hey, I can just create some space in here, right? And I did. And the space was really meant to be my sanctuary. So my sanctuary from corporate America. So as I was surviving corporate America, I needed a space to create. Creating was extraordinarily important for me. And of course, I was creating via the medium of fragrance. And so I took sanctuary and I did the French piece of that, and I became Sanctuaire de Fleurs because, of course, we create off many times from there's a flower component, or people know it as such. There are many raw materials, and so that's how the name came to be, Sanctuaire de Fleurs. It was my peaceful place, my step back from corporate America to create and to build. That was the naming piece of it. I missed the latter part of your question.
Oh, it was the collection. You also have names like I Love My Locks. And
Yes.
I've never, I mean, I saw it and I opened my eyes like, wow, it's beautiful. I just would have never thought that would be the name of a fragrance collection.
And no one else has either.
Yeah, and I love it.
It was my inaugural fragrance. It was the first fragrance. The name was actually a placeholder. I was starting my locks for at the time, and I said, well, I'll just use this as a placeholder because I'm building this right now. But what happened was this journey of what I didn't know was moving out of corporate America. I had started this lock journey. I was working out with a trainer at that time, and everything was changing at once and in a really powerful way. And then as I really kind of understood the lock thing, I'm like, oh, this is this is just kind of how the locks do, you know? The locks grow and they change and they're all different and they're all powerful in their own unique and dynamic way. And I let the name stay, but I will tell you there were people from a marketing perspective who thought I was kind of locking myself in a box by using the name because the perception is that locks are only hairstyles that Black women, men wear. It's true to us. And then I said, well, what is wrong with that? That's a
What
fact.
is wrong with that?
What is
And
wrong with Black women and men predominantly wear this hairstyle, and this is the journey, and it's powerful, and the fragrance is bold, it's intense, and it's powerful. It's about freedom. It was the perfect name. Kept it.
and and when you said what's wrong with that, that brought me right back to that word you used earlier, and you just said it again, powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Powerful.
powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Hmm.
It's only being able to own that power. Um, it's hard for us as Black people to do because we're always being pushed back in the box. If we fully owned our power, I we would we would be in a different place in space right now, I think, as a people. And not just, from a business perspective, but in our communities as well.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think that's a very bold move there, those names. And I'm glad that you kept that power.
I did.
Yes. And I'm curious. So I could see, you started the business. That was very bold. The names you've chosen for your collections, very bold. Is there another bold moment or something bold that you could think of in the business that you'd like to point out?
I would. That's a great question. because I want to tell you this one, this one made me second guess myself. Has made me second guess myself a lot. And that is art, the aesthetic. So if you go to my website, if you went to my website today, you'd go to the page and you'd see blackness in its fullness and images that are reflective or futuristic. What I have called, or I am calling, Black luxury futurism for women. So the images are really, really bold and they are really, really black. But they are also very future. So you see things like the heavenlies and the cosmic space, and you see us in our sovereignty as we own and inhabit everything that is beautiful. And sometimes I take a step back from the site and I go, oh, this is too black. These people are going to just go like, she has lost her mind. And why does she have the cosmos out there and the galaxies and stars and all of the images? And then I relax a little bit and I say, this is me. And my people will find me here, loving the art, loving the fragrance, loving the writing. But that's the one right now that's like, ooh, you're on the edge. But if you're not on the edge of something, like, are you really building? I don't know.
Hmm. That sounds very intentional
It's very intentional.
and powerful.
Hmm.
I love it.
I'm walking all the way in it. I'm all the way.
Okay, great, great, great. So, can you tell us a little bit about what success means to you?
Success to me is doing what you love to do, that you are really good at, that you could wake up and enjoy every day, even on your worst days.
Hmm.
On the
Hmm.
other side of that, there comes some income.
Okay, throw in some income, yes. And if there is somebody listening to you right now who's still having to be what we've been calling corporate America, we've been saying for you saying that your experience was toxic. I do relate because I had some of those experiences as well. Not all the way through. It was kind of like a roller coaster. I really appreciate the good moments and the good people I met along the way, but that does not erase the really bad ones that I did have. So for someone who's probably listening now, who's probably experiencing the bad side of that, any words you'd like to share with them, having been there and now being in this place where we know we just define success for you and you live in it right now? Anything that you'd like to share here?
I was on LinkedIn recently and someone had just been laid off. A woman had recently been laid off and she said, I've been looking for jobs. I've been looking everywhere. I've been sending resumes out so long and I've had many iterations of my resume and I'm getting nothing. And she is not alone. When I was laid off from my job, I started sending out resumes again because that's the thing I knew to do. I had started the business, but I was still sending out resumes and nothing, a sea of nothingness. you know, Periodically I'd get the email back, right? That was, thank you, but no thank you. Never got an interview, never anything. And I say this when you're in a toxic environment, keep looking. If you want to work and you enjoy working and you want to find a job that's similar to that or better, look for it. Talk to people, engage with people. Almost everyone on my team that I built in corporate America came from networking. People referred someone to me, gave me their resume, told me they were great. I interviewed them. I thought they were great. They joined my team. Resumes are falling into whatever black hole they're falling into. And so we have to be disruptive and do something different. If you want to find that job, you're going to have to do something really different. Step outside that box, disturb people, even the companies that you want to work for, find somebody in there that works for them. Reach out to them on LinkedIn and be like, hey, I'm trying to, what do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to, to get into this space? If you're on the other side of that and you have a business that you think is viable and you are ready or are being forced to build it and look for a job. I built SANCTUAIRE de Fleurs while I was working as an exit strategy. I had to scale quickly because I was laid off. I would have done them both until I felt it was time to go. That's not how it happened. So I think both things can be true. I think surviving corporate America and being in a toxic environment, like for me, high blood pressure, being sick, Sundays awful, Mondays, it's not a good feeling. And so we have to remove ourselves from it, for our own health and longevity in life. So find another job, look for another job, but don't do it the traditional ways. Send out the resume still, do that. But I've had people in my inbox on LinkedIn that said, hey, do you know somebody I'm looking for? Made a whole video, had the resume attached, and I couldn't do anything but help. I asked my husband, I said, listen, you two are in the same field. Are you hiring? Look at this. He said, send her to they're hired over here. It's different. She doesn't have anything yet, but it's taking things like that to get into the workplace today, which is unfortunate, honestly.
I love all of what you mentioned, and I think that's very, very helpful. And you mentioned networking there, and that is so important even while you're in corporate, especially while you're in corporate, because it's something you will definitely bring with you, and the people you've met too. It's something that will really be very valuable as you build your business as well, or even if you stay in corporate. So networking, no matter where you land or where you plan to be, networking is huge.
So important. Building an intentional network, people that you really want to stay connected to because you respect them or value them in some way. And they bring value to you in some way as well, which is extraordinarily important.
Yes, and since I reached out to you, you've opened the doors for me to actually meet many other women who are building businesses. And I very much look forward to continuing those conversations and remaining part of your network. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you, this conversation, and the future conversations we will have. I look forward to that.
You are wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us. And I really, really look forward to having you on here again.
Oh, thank you so much, Clarita. Thank you. I appreciate you.
A quick note before we wrap up. The insights and experiences shared by our guests are their own. We love creating space for real conversations about business and growth, and everyone's journey is unique. Therefore, this podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. It is not meant to replace legal, financial, or other professional advice. So, we encourage you to take what's useful, do your own due diligence, and build what works best for you.
Thanks for listening to Begin, Build, Blossom Your Business Journey. We hope today's conversation gave you the insights and inspiration you need to move forward on your own path. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. Do you have feedback? We'd love to hear from you at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com. Join us again next week for a new episode.